You are Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Nuggets Nation, and welcome on into your Locked On Nuggets postcast right here on your Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. What a win for the fellas as they storm back from down as many as 14 points to take down the Sacramento Kings on this Wednesday evening. Your final score, 116-110, as the Denver Nuggets earned their 40th victory of the season, 21-9 at home, clinching a home winning, a winning record at home this season is what I was trying to say. A record 100th consecutive sellout for the Denver Nuggets. I actually don't know if that's a record, but it's a pretty darn cool streak that they've got going on. And boy, oh boy, was Nuggets Nation rewarded with a fun game here tonight, 116-110, your final score. You guys can follow me on social media at Media by AP. I am your host, Aniello Piro. How are you feeling out there, guys? If you're watching live on YouTube, as always, do me that favor, guys. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. That way you guys never, ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Rocking with a little bit of a new format here on the program. So we'll get into some kind of benchmark segments throughout the course of the show here this evening. We'll do a play of the game, talking about it, turning point, whatever it might be. We'll break it all down for you guys here on tonight's Locked On Nuggets postcast. But yes, it is a victory for the Denver Nuggets as they're able to wipe the slate clean following Sunday's pretty ugly loss to the Boston Celtics, a game that Denver found themselves in it to the end. They wiped the slate clean, as I mentioned, and bounced back here tonight. Despite it looking a little rough early for the fellas, they turn the gas. They keep their foot on the gas there in the fourth quarter, and they do the darn thing to rally back from down as many as 14 points in this game against Sacramento. And I believe this is now, 3 games against the Kings that they have played this season, and every single one of those games has gone down to the wire. And a couple of big turning points in this game or kind of thoughts here is obviously the first quarter was pretty rough. I mean, they gave up 42 points in the first quarter, which is just an absurdity in and of itself. I mean, Denver did score 29, so it's not like it was a terrible offensive first quarter for them either. But 42 points to concede 42 in the first period, and it's easy for a team when you're down like that in the first quarter to maybe roll over a little bit and kind of just give in and coast right to the end of the game. But that is not what the Denver Nuggets do. Look, they've got some championship DNA, right? You've still got your core 4 with Christian Brown out there as well. And, they know what it takes to storm back in these games. And I believe I caught this on the post-game broadcast from Chris Marlowe and company, that this is, I believe, the 7th victory for Denver this year where they've had to come from behind by down double digits over the course of a game. So a thrilling victory, a great victory. I put it on the thumbnail. Are the Nuggets back? This was a quality win against a quality team, right? I know Sacramento isn't the Lakers or the Thunder or the Rockets, whatever it might be in the NBA's Western Conference, but Sacramento's a pretty darn good basketball team. Zach LaVine, Valanciunas and company. Obviously, no Sabonis tonight, which certainly makes an impact in this game for sure. But no Aaron Gordon tonight for the Denver Nuggets. So that kind of cancels each other out. And what about Peyton Watson, man? I know he didn't, he's working his way back from injury, but he was out there tonight after about 4 or 5 weeks off due to the injury. Only 2 points tonight for P-Watt. But, nice to see him back out there. Grabbed a couple of rebounds and assists as well. So shout out to P-Watt. Happy to see him back out there for sure. But what a game tonight for the fellas, and really just a team victory. A team victory for the guys. So why don't we get into our turning point here and kind of talk about where this game really settled in for the Denver Nuggets as they were ultimately able to push themselves to this 116-110 victory.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
One of our new benchmark segments here on your Locked On Nuggets postcast is the turning point. And I got to say, I think it was really the entirety of the fourth quarter, but in particular, the non-Jokic minutes to start the fourth quarter. As we all know, unfortunately, when Jokic is off the court, the Nuggets are one of the worst teams in the NBA. When Jokic is on the court, they're one of the best teams in the NBA. It's really not that complicated. And I think you saw great effort and great resiliency from the bench unit in those non-Jokic minutes in the fourth quarter, which really helped spearhead this comeback victory down as many as 14 points tonight for the Denver Nuggets. And so, you're looking at guys, not named Nikola Jokic, essentially, that were able to do their job, in particular on the defensive side of the floor. Only 17 points conceded in the fourth quarter for the Denver Nuggets, which you absolutely love to see. So they make up for that, lackadaisical first quarter where they gave up 42 points and only allow 17 points in the most important sequence of the game. So I think the non-Jokic minutes were absolutely phenomenal tonight, and really the difference in this game. I think without those strong non-Jokic minutes, Denver, maybe Jokic comes back in at right around that 8-minute mark, right? And, they figure out a way to, keep their foot on the gas and figure out a way to win this game. But the non-Jokic minutes really played a significant role in helping keeping Denver in this game, narrowing the gap, and ultimately allowing Nikola Jokic to come back into the game with some rest and do what he does. So I thought that was the turning point of the game. Let's get into some statistics here. I'll give you my player of the game here in the second segment here on your Locked On Nuggets postcast. But a decent game all across the board for all of the starters, I would say. We'll start with Michael Porter Jr., a guy that I've been critical of for sure. A double-double tonight for MPJ, 13 points, 12 rebounds. You absolutely love to see it. And I've said it time and time again. You want Michael Porter Jr. to be more consistent shooting the basketball, right? He was 5 of 13 from the field, 1 of 7 from three-point land, right? It's hard to watch sometimes with Michael Porter Jr. right now with his offensive play. But what he lacks for in scoring, he's been able to make up with in rebounding. Again, 12 rebounds tonight for Michael Porter Jr., including 10 of them coming on the defensive end of the floor. So cleaning the glass tonight was Michael Porter Jr. He was a +2 in the box, plus minus. You love to see the effort from Michael Porter Jr. there on the glass. Nikola Jokic, the big fella, an off night by his standards. He was the only Nuggets starter who was a minus in the box, plus minus, but he does finish with a double-double himself, which, when was the last time Nikola Jokic did not have a double-double in a game? That's probably the better question to ask if we're being honest with ourselves here. But 22 points tonight for the big fella, 15 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal. He did have 7 turnovers. So, a little sloppy there at times from Joker, but he is the best player in the NBA. So, I think we can live with that, when it's all said and done from Nikola Jokic. So, like to see that. Russell Westbrook, who we'll get into here in just a moment on the other side of the break, a nice second half from Russ. He finishes with 25 points. Jamal Murray with 24 points tonight, and Christian Brown adding 15 of his own. So, love to see that across the board from the Nuggets starters going out there and getting the job done to get this 116-110 victory. So, and we'll talk about Zeke Naji. We talked a little P. Watt, Jalen Pickett off the bench. No Saric, Tyson, Spencer Jones, Vlatko, or DeAndre tonight. And as I mentioned, Aaron Gordon did not play in this game as he continues to work his way back from an injury here as well. But no Aaron Gordon, no problem, as the Denver Nuggets get that 116-110 dub over the Sacramento Kings. All right, let me hit my first break, guys. When we come back, we will continue along with the conversation. I'll give you guys my player of the game. I thought one player in particular really stood out, a guy that, has been up and down this season, I think is fair. But, relative to expectations, I think he's been better than most people expected. I'll leave it with that. So we'll hit a quick break. We'll come back and do just that right here on your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Back in just a moment, folks. All right, you guys, real quick, let me tell you about our friends over at OpenPhone. Running a small business means you're wearing a lot of hats. Your personal phone becomes your business phone, and before you know it, you're juggling customer calls day and night. As your team grows, it becomes impossible to manage everything with just your personal number. That's where OpenPhone comes in. It's the #1 business phone system designed to help keep you and your work and your personal life separate. For just $15 a month, the cost of a few coffees, you can get complete transparency and visibility into everything happening with your business's phone number. OpenPhone works through an app on your phone or computer and integrates with tools like HubSpot and hundreds of others. It also uses AI-powered call transcripts and summaries, so you'll have a rundown of your calls and action items the second you hang up the phone. And if you miss a call, no problem. Automated messages are sent directly to your customer, ensuring you never miss an opportunity to engage. Right now, OpenPhone is offering 20% off your first 6 months when you go to openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OpenPhone.com/LockedOnNBA for 20% off for 6 months. OpenPhone.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have an existing number with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. Be sure to check out our friends over at OpenPhone. Let them know that Locked On Nuggets sent you, and help manage your business just a little bit better, folks. And let me also tell you about our friends over at BetterHelp here real quick, guys, because who is in your support system? We all need people to lean on, whether it's friends, family, mentors, or professionals. Even the strongest leaders and athletes know that asking for help makes them so much better. Therapy is one of the best ways to build a strong support system. It's not just for tough times. It helps with setting boundaries, developing coping skills, and becoming the best version of yourself. Learning to ask for help. It's not the easiest thing in the world. I've seen firsthand how valuable it is to have a support system that keeps you grounded and motivated. And there's also everyday benefits, guys. Therapy isn't just about crisis moments. It's a tool for self-improvement, stress management, and navigating life's challenges. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off of your first month. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. Be sure to check out our friends over at BetterHelp and let them know that Locked On Nuggets sent you. Okay, welcome on back into your Locked On Nuggets postcast. I am your host, Aniello Piro. You guys can follow me on social media at Media by AP. Do me a favor, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. That way you guys never, ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast right here on your Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. It is a 116-110 victory for the fellas as they get their 40th win of the season, storming back from as many as 14 points down in this game. I gave you my turning point. I thought it was the fourth quarter, and in particular, the non-Jokic minutes. Denver outscores Sacramento 32-17 in this fourth quarter here tonight. Absolutely love to see it. And it was really kind of a bookend type of game, right? Sacramento came out hot with the 42 points, and they're basically within spitting distance of each other in the second and the third quarters. Denver outscores Sac 26-23, and then Denver outscores Sacramento 29-28 there in the third quarter as well. And then, like I said, the bookend of it is Denver really locks in on defense, outscoring Sacramento 32-17 there in the fourth quarter. So you like to see that because we know, I've talked about it on this show. If you watch the games, you know it. If you read about the Nuggets, you know it. Michael Malone's number one concern, his chief concern, is the defense, right? Because we know with Nikola Jokic on the floor, the Nuggets offense, essentially takes care of itself, for lack of a better phrase, right? It's the defense across the board, both with Jokic in and out of the game, that you've got to figure out a way to try to improve. And I know there's a lot of conversation going on right now with the Denver Nuggets about, like, did the Lakers figure something out with trying to, defend Nikola Jokic and slow down the Nuggets offense? That remains to be seen. But it is one of those situations where it was a defense-first mentality, I would say, for the Denver Nuggets in the fourth quarter. And the offense, as I mentioned, takes care of itself. So awesome stuff from the non-Jokic minutes from that bench unit. And just across the board, man, just a really nice mindset shift, I would say, for Denver in the fourth quarter to clamp down, lock in, and get this 116-110 dub against the Sacramento Kings. So love to see it. Let's get into our player of the game segment here real quick as well. We'll have some fun with that.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Okay, your Locked On Player of the Game tonight, I would say, is Russell Westbrook. 35 minutes for us back in the starting lineup there with no Aaron Gordon tonight for the Denver Nuggets. Rough first half for Russ. 25 points total, though. He really, really put it on in the second half. He finishes with 25, 5, and 3. Had a couple of steals, had a couple of blocks. You absolutely love to see that. Hit a few three-point shots. Not one, not two, not three, but 4 3-pointers made for Russell Westbrook. Anytime Russell Westbrook hits a three-point shot, that is the cherry on top. That is the cream, right? Because we know Russell Westbrook, at least at this point in his career, is not the best outside shooter. So anything you can get from Russ, specifically from the three-point line, is incredible. He was 10 of 20 from the field, so 50% there. So I think Russell Westbrook was the player of the game tonight for sure. And how about the Russell Westbrook super fan that was in attendance tonight at the Ball Arena? If you were watching the Nuggets feed, I believe his name was Kim. He flew like 6,000 miles, I saw on his poster that he had there. He's a diehard Russell Westbrook fan. Not a Nugget fan. I guess he is right now, but he's just been a diehard Russell Westbrook fan for about a decade now, and he was rewarded with a great Russell Westbrook game. I saw, Russell after the game did his post-game interview there with Scott Hastings, and then went over to the fan, gave him his game used jersey. That was such a cool moment to see play out on screen. So shout out to Kim, shout out to Russell Westbrook. What a game tonight for Brody, and he is my locked on player of the game tonight for sure. But another guy that we have to talk about, Zeke Nnaji. Are we at the point with Zeke Nnaji where it's not just like, oh, we're happy that we're getting something out of Zeke? Like, maybe you come to expect that now. And I was texting my buddy Trey during the game, and we were kind of going back and forth. At first it was kind of doom and gloom because we were just like, what's going on? Like, this team is not good right now. Like, it's going to be 2 consecutive losses, Boston then tonight, and you've got Oklahoma City, you got Phoenix on Friday, and then Oklahoma City coming up shortly thereafter for 2 consecutive games. But Zeke Nnaji, man, he is earning his keep. I think Zeke Nnaji is playing great basketball right now. 19 minutes tonight for Zeke, 1 of 3 from 3, finishes with 10 points, a +9 in the box plus minus, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 3 blocks. And you need to give a tip of the cap to Zeke Nnaji, because we went from talking about the worst contract in the NBA to a guy that might, I don't even know if might is the right way to put it, will be in the Nuggets rotation come playoff time. And that's a credit to Zeke, because you got to imagine, 2 years, really his entire career. He had some run early in his career and whatnot, but like the last 2 years just relegated to the bench, collecting dust. That's going to be hard. Not playing, having to kind of earn your keep in practice, keeping your head up, staying locked in, staying dialed. And I think Zeke Nnaji has just done such a great job. Injuries have afforded him some extra playing time this year that maybe he otherwise wouldn't have gotten. But I think Zeke Nnaji is really cementing himself. The Peyton Watson injury, I think, is what opened up some playing time for Zeke Nnaji on top of some other things. Aaron Gordon being a bit banged up. Jamal's been in and out of the lineup. I know he's not a guard, right? But, Denver's been a bit shorthanded at times this season. And, specifically post All-Star, or, right around All-Star break, trade deadline-ish, right? That's when you've seen Zeke Nnaji start to get some real run outside of garbage time. And so I just think Zeke Nnaji has been, great, considering the circumstances, and the hand that he's been dealt, for lack of a better phrase. And again, tonight, in his 19 minutes, making an impact, hitting that 3-point shot, putting up 10 points, 3 blocks. I mean, that's a team high 3 blocks tonight. So you absolutely love to see that from Zeke Nnaji, 100%. And so, I'm curious to see, if he's able to keep it up, how much rope Michael Malone wants to give him. I know I just said Russell Westbrook was the player of the game, and he did have a good game, in particular in the second half. But, there's been moments, especially with Jamal back and healthy, where it's like, okay, like maybe Malone should, pump the brakes just a little bit on Russell Westbrook. And I don't want to tell, I can't tell Malone what to do. I think he's a great coach, an NBA championship head coach at that. I was actually with Malone yesterday. He's on the cover of our new issue at Mile High Sports, for Mile High Sports Magazine, him and his daughter, Bridget. You can head over to milehighsports.com if you want to check that out as well. So I was with Malone yesterday. We revealed the cover. I didn't really talk any hoops or anything like that. But, I'm a Malone guy. I'll put it that way. But I do think that, you have to look at what Zeke Nnaji's been giving you, and you've got to be excited about it. You got to be excited about it for sure. So let's see. A couple other stats before we get out of here tonight. Looking at it, both teams shot relatively the same from the field. Denver actually got outshot from 3-point land, a rare win for Denver when they're outshot from 3-point land, and pretty considerably. Sacramento only took 27 3-point shots, but they knocked down 11 of them. That's good for just under 41%, whereas Denver took 35. That's 34.3% after knocking down 12 of them. The rebound battling was close, which is interesting with no Sabonis out there. I know they got Valanciunas now, 46-45, a Denver advantage there. And, the other 2 categories that I always like to look at, fast break points, they were evened up there at 13, and they were essentially even at points in the paint as well. 56 for Denver, 52 for Sacramento. But again, down as many as 14 points, that is not easy to do. And when this Nuggets team flips the switch, they're tough to beat. It's been inconsistent, right? And, to kind of bridge the gap here to our final talking point is Murderer's Row is coming up, folks. You've got a game against Phoenix that you should win on Friday night on ESPN, but then the schedule, some real gut check type of games here coming up. So like I said, Phoenix on Friday, but then you got 2 games in a row on the road at Oklahoma City. Sunday, 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Monday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. then Wednesday against Minnesota, and Friday against the Lakers. So not including Phoenix, 4 of their next 5 games are very difficult. Los Angeles with Luka is a different animal right now. Minnesota, right there, a thorn in their side. And Oklahoma City's the best team in the Western Conference. You can't sleep on Phoenix either, even though they're a bit discombobulated. But, that's why it was good to get this win here tonight after that little 4-game road trip where they went 2-2. We'll see if they can, string together a second win in a row on Friday and then look ahead to the 2 consecutive games against Oklahoma City, which I'm very curious to see how they play out. But all right, that is going to do it for me on tonight's episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. As always, guys, really appreciate y'all tapping in. Do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button on your way out the door. Does me a favor and, keeps you guys locked in or locked on, I should say, with all the Nuggets content here on your Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. But it is a 116-110 dub for the Denver Nuggets as they get the job done here tonight over the Sacramento Kings. Enjoy the evening. Talk to you guys on Friday after the Denver Nuggets take on the Phoenix Suns. Have a good night, folks.